Hey everybody, how's it going? So this is going to be about types of bonds. A couple of classes, we've looked into the idea of compounds and basically elements of, well, different elements to get things. We talk about how those things, how they're actually made. What it is, they are formed by, and we're going to look at the two bonds today. The first one is the ionic bond. And what an ionic bond is, it is a bond between a metal and a nonmetal. So what happens is, if you think about the metals, they're on the left side of the periodic table. So they have very few valence electrons. And it's easier for them to get rid of those few than to get a whole bunch. So at the same time, nonmetals, they're on the right side of the periodic table. So they have a lot of valence electrons. So they only need to get a couple more instead of giving away a whole bunch. And that's what ionic bonding is. The metals give up their electrons to the nonmetals. And it's always going to be bonding between metals and nonmetals. So if we just take a look at this picture here. This one here on the left, this is the metal. And what he's doing to his nonmetal fiancé wife person over here. But that's the idea. So one of them gives away their electrons and the other one receives the electrons. The other kind of bond that we're going to talk about is the covalent bond. And this is bonding that happens between strictly non-metal elements. So all of the ones that are on the right side of the periodic table. And instead of giving and taking electrons, covalent bonds, they end up sharing electrons. So these nonmetals, like I said, their outer shells are almost full. And if they're not getting the electrons from the metal elements, they can instead share with one another. And then with that sharing, they will each have a full outer shell. So covalent bonds, I always say sharing is caring. But that's the basic idea, is that it is non-metal elements and they end up sharing their valence electrons. And you can see here two covalent bonds, they're sharing with one another. So I'm going to make another video just talking about a couple of examples. And then there's also going to be a short assignment for you to look at the periodic table and figure out whether the bonds are ionic or covalent. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. But until next time, have a good one. See ya.